Layers. Now let's talk about layers. So what I'm gonna do before I do that, I want to show you an option that AutoCAD has when you open a drawing, and that drawing is not eligible to be saved. Now there's different reasons because of that. The file itself might be restricted, or maybe it's opened in a different application. So when that happens, you're gonna get this message. Open this, and it says here, you can read it, all that, but it says, would you like to open a file read only? Okay, read only. There are gonna be some files, they're gonna be read only. When you open a file that is read only, again, it might be because that file is open somewhere else. Okay, especially if you're in a network and it's open somewhere else, it's gonna open it as a read only. Or if the file is restricted, it's also gonna be as read only. What that means is that you'll be able to see it, you'll be able to change it, but if you save, it will not let you save that file. Okay, so the read-only files are only for viewing purposes, even though you can go in there and make changes, but if you try to save them, it will not save it. What you need to do is do a file save as, change the name or change the location, and then you'll be able to continue saving or making changes. But a read-only file, again, it's a file that opens, and it will not allow you to save it on the same directory with the same name. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. So if I click yes, notice that here, and this is a sample plan that I found. It's from the software itself. You see up here the name, okay, and then you have an lock right next to it. That means it's read only. Okay, for example, if I make some changes, I could make some changes, but if I try to save it, notice what it says. Drawing file is write protected. So it will not let me save it unless I save it as, put it in a different directory with a different name, then it might let me do that. So I just want to share that with you. Okay, now let's go over layers. Okay, let me do something real quick, just so I can show you some stuff here. Let's do this. Okay. Now, up to now, everything we have been drawing it in layer 0. Because layer 0, that was a layer that AutoCAD gave us on the ACAD template. And that layer 0, it's always there, and it's white. Okay, it's a layer that we start with. Layer 0, you should always leave layer 0 there. We're gonna add layers in a bit, but layer 0 stays there. Don't get rid of layer 0, because all of our blocks are going to be made on layer 0. So we do need layer 0. Okay, even though we're going to have some layers there in a bit, never get rid of layer 0. We need layer 0 for blocks. All right, so now why do we use layers? Let's start with that. Layers are different. The way that I can explain it to you, imagine you're drawing by hand and you have a big table and you have a sheet of paper, and you're drawing on that sheet of paper. Let's say it could be a different drawing, right? It could be a painting. Let's say you have a canvas with a painting. So when you want to paint, of course, you have different colors. Not only different colors, but you also have different brushes to do thin lines or wider lines. Okay. Same thing on a paper. Let's say you're drafting, so you might have different colors of pens, and not only different colors of pens, but you might have also different widths of those pens. So when it comes to AutoCAD and when it comes to our drawings, we now are going to start drawing with layers. Okay, now there's different reasons why we use layers. One reason why we use layers is because it makes it easier for us to view our drawing. For example, see this one right here, what I did, I just went and put everything to layer 0. So you can see everything's white. So it could be a little bit confusing to understand what is what, where does one line start, where does the other one start, what are the different components, because everything's white. Okay, so one of the reasons why we use layers, again, one of them, or the basic one, right, it's to help us understand what we're drawing. So right now, this one is on layer 0, everything's white. And notice the difference between this one and this one. This one is in layers. So it gives us a better understanding of what's it that we're looking at. Okay? So this one is in layers, this one is only in one layer. Okay, so that's one reason why we use layers. So we can, when we're drafting, it's going to be easier for us to visualize what we're doing. All right? So that's one. Two, second reason why we use layers, we use different layers because the layers are going to give us options to help for editing. Okay? Now, what is a layer? What a layer is, it's a tool, I guess in quotation, it's a tool. It's not a tool. It's, imagine a pen again that has a different color, and then you can use that those properties on that pen to help you edit your drawing. Okay, I guess it's a little bit hard to explain. Now, notice now we're in home and we're here on this section, and it's section for layers. Okay, so we have some layers here. If you click on this button, this flyout button here, it has all the layers that this file has. Notice that each one of these layers has a name and it has a color. All right. So for example, if I click on that right there, that's layer panels underscore 201, and it has its own color. If I click on this right here, that's on layer chairs. If I click on this right here, that's on layer phones. So now you can see that you can create your layers and use those layers to draw the components that you want. Okay, so in this drawing, everything's a different layer, and it can help us. Again, the second reason that this is helpful is because we can use those layers to edit. Okay, for example, let's say I want to turn off all the phones. I can come up here, and then when you open this, notice that phones is right there, and then we have three buttons here. One says turn off and on layer. This one says freeze and thaw on all viewports. I'm going to cover this when we go back live on a session, and then lock. Okay, let's start with this one. I can turn off a layer. So now notice that all my phones are turned off. I'm not erasing them. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm just turning them off. Let's say you don't want to see them, right? Let's say you don't want to see the chairs. You want to you don't want to overwhelm your site with all those components. You can turn off whatever you don't want to see. And again, you're not getting rid of those things. You just turning them off. If I try to do it here, since everything's on layer 0, see, I can't do that. I will not be able to do that because everything's a layer 0. If I turn layer 0 off, everything turns off. So you don't want to do that. So for that reason, you want to have everything in different layers. Okay, so you can do that. You can turn on and off. You can see them here too. Turn off layers. If you click on this one here, it will be the same thing. If I click on this button here where it says off, and then I click on the whatever layer, and whatever layer that has is going to look for everything on that layer and turn it off. For example, if I click on this right here, well, let's click on the doors. If I click on the door, it's going to turn all the doors off. So all the doors that were drawn on the door layer. Okay? Isolate. Let's say you want to isolate some of the drawings. So I want to isolate, let's say, this wall right here. Select it, enter it. So what it does, it turns everything off except that layer that you selected. Okay? I'm going to bring them back. You can bring them up here, and I can turn all of them here. So it's off and on right here. Freeze, I'm going to go that later on. Okay, so again, you can turn off any layer, and whatever is drawn on that layer is going to be turned off. You can turn off the layer, the doors, you can turn off your computers. I think that's, let's see, it was active maybe. Yeah. Okay, so you can turn off and you can turn them on by this button right here. Turn all layers on, they come back. You can isolate again. If you click on something that is drawn, that it's on a layer, and you can isolate by clicking this one. So it's just gonna turn everything off except that. You see? So this is gonna be, again, second reason why we use layers is for editing purposes. So now you can turn on and off layers as you need. You can lock them too. For example, you can lock all your door layers right here. And you lock them, notice that they're there, they just go a little bit hidden, okay? And that means that you cannot do nothing. If I try to move this one, since it's locked, it's not gonna allow me to move it. If I try to erase it, it's not gonna allow me to erase it. If I try to copy it, it's not gonna let me copy it because the layer itself is locked. So when you have something like this and you wanna make sure that some of those components don't move, of course you draw them on the appropriate layer, and then what you can do, you can lock that layer so you don't mess it up later on, okay? Now, when it's locked, you can still use it. For example, I can still have access to the midpoint. So it does give me some options here, just that I cannot do nothing with it. I can use it as a reference. I can use center lines, whatever, endpoints, midpoints. I can find them, but to the actual object that has that layer and has been locked, I cannot move it. I can select it, I can use it, but I cannot edit nothing on that because it's locked. Okay, you want to unlock it, just click on it, bring everything back. Okay. You can also do it through here. Those that I showed you, you can turn on and off by layer individually. Or you can use this right here. Okay. And then make current whichever layer you want to have current. Again, now think of layers, you have your pencils. Whichever pencil you want to be working with, you want to activate that layer. For example, if I want to draw a line here, and I want to draw a line in door layer, well, right now it's not giving me door layer because I'm in layer 0. So what I need to do is first change it to layer door. I think that's the one. Let's see, which one is it? Yeah. I need to go to layer door, and then whatever I draw is going to be drawn on that layer. You see? You can also choose it here. If I click on this one, whatever I select on is the one that's going to be active. So let's say I want to draw something on this layer. If I click on it, automatically now it's going to be current. So whatever I draw is going to be drawn on that layer. Okay. Now let's say I want to draw using this layer. I click on it. It activates that layer. And whatever I draw is going to be drawn in that layer. Okay. So the second reason why we use layers, one, again, it's for visualizing purposes. Two, it's for editing purposes. It's going to help us edit the drawing by using layers. Okay, I'm going to stop the video. I'll do the second part in a different video so it doesn't get too lengthy.